Live with CDP Sports Talk, a weekly sports and entertainment podcast sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. And on audio via Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Anchor FM, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Radio Public, and TuneIn. Now, here's your host, Chris Palme.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Season 8, Episode 29 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out barrycullen.com for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, or give them a call at 519-824-0210. or email them at info@barrycullen.com. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show is also on weeknights from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern on radio station WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta. And I'm looking forward to my guest tonight. This is going to be his third time on our show. I'll bring him on in a minute. I apologize for the technical difficulties. I had an issue with StreamYard Live for maybe about a minute or two coming on here live, so I apologize. I hope everyone's doing well on this Monday, July 15th, 2024. It is now the Major League Baseball All-Star break. The home run hitting contest is tonight, I believe, and the actual All-Star game is tomorrow night at 8 o'clock from Globe Life Stadium in Texas. And the Philadelphia Phillies have 8 players in this All-Star game this year. The Detroit Tigers have 2. But my guest on tonight, he is from Philadelphia. And I'm looking forward to speaking to him in just a second. And we're going to bring him on 1 second. His name is Pat Bernard. He is a reporter with Edge of Philly Sports. And he's also the beat reporter for the National Lacrosse League's Philadelphia Wings and Major League Soccer League's Philadelphia Union. Pat's going to come on, and we're going to talk some 2024 Philadelphia Phillies and the role they were on in the first half, 62-34, best record in baseball, except for they had their worst game of the year yesterday against Oakland, losing 18-3. But we're also going to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, whether this team has done enough in the offseason to get the Eagles back to NFC Championship game and possibly a Super Bowl this year as well. So we're going to bring on our guest, Pat Bernard from the Edge of Philly Sports. Good evening, Pat. How you doing?
What's up, Chris? What's going on, buddy?
Good. I apologize for the technical glitch with StreamYard. It took about an extra minute to get on here, so I apologize.
Yeah, no worries, my friend. And listen, I'm honored to be on this show for the third time. It's really a lot of fun. I can't wait to talk baseball with you. I can't wait to talk some Eagles football with you. But and of course, and then things that I'm covering here in Philadelphia. But let's start at the top here with your Phillies and the fighting Phillies. A lot of people in this town, a lot of people are just shocked and surprised of this team being at the top of the hill, running back with the same team. I mean, nobody saw this coming. They got waffled there in the second round of the postseason by the Diamondbacks in the MLDS. I mean, the Diamondbacks went on a tear, and they bounced this Phillies team out. And the Phillies were playing. Game 7 was really, really horrible, and the way they were swinging the ball, at some horrible hacks. Even Bryce Harper, Alec Bohm, those guys were taking some bad hacks right there in the playoffs, and which led to your demise. And according to with the postseason in the aftermath, and a lot of the players were saying, like guys like Nick Castellanos were saying, we didn't see pitches like that before. The Diamondbacks pitching staff had something up their sleeves that we didn't see coming. So I mean, it's hard for me to believe that. I mean, because you had this team on the ropes. You had this team on the ropes heading back home, and you let W after W after W slip out of your hands. What led this demise? But needless to say, like I said, fast forward, we are 2024, and this team came out red hot in the beginning of April. I'm like, okay, you know what? This is just April. Everyone's good in April when it comes to MLB baseball. But no, we're at the halfway point, and this team is at the top of the hill. I mean, you look at this Phillies team, you're 8.5 above the Braves, you're 6.5 above the Dodgers, and that's just in the NL. And then you're 3.5 on top of the Guardians. So this team, what's up, Ryan? What's up, buddy? That's my guy there. He's part of the Edges Philly sports family. But yeah, I mean, this team went on a tear. I mean, this team has been good day in and day out. It's been good, consistent baseball. And listen, I got the stats here in front of me. You know, I got Bryce Harper stats and Alec Bohm. But the thing with this team is the chemistry that's upon it. The chemistry has been really good, and on both sides of the ball. When you look at the offense, if one guy gets cold, like if Bryce Harper gets cold, Alec Bohm will step up. If Alec Bohm will step up, Nick Castellanos will come through. If Nick Castellanos gets cold, Kyle Schwarber will come through. It's always somebody new, fresh, and gets into a rhythm. And it's really nice to see. I mean, the fielding has been great. The defense has been great, infield and outfield defense. And then, like I said, the pitching staff. We have you had Aaron Nola, you had Zach Wheeler, and then a surprising Ranger Suarez who went on the tear. I mean, best pitcher in the MLB for quite some time. Up until recently, he got hit in the hand, his throwing hand, and he's been battling through his hurt hand. So I mean, his command hasn't been there. I mean, his ERA right now. His ERA is at 2.61. So, I mean, it's not really again, he's kind of fell apart a little bit here. I'm glad that they've sat him down through the post, the All-Star break. I mean, give him some time to rest, get some time to rest on that throwing hand. This is what this kid needs. He needs to relax, get himself back together. But continue talking about that pitching staff. Look at Christopher Suarez. He doesn't have a fastball in his repertoire, but he's got other pitches that dominate that pitching zone. He knows how to paint. You have guys you have his pitching zone. Like he has a sinker, he has a cutter, he has a curveball that's untouchable. He just paints the strike zone. He does a really good job there. And then, of course, you have the Phillies bullpen. Usually 9 times out of 10, the Phillies bullpen will have you biting your nails. But no, you got guys like Gregory Soto, Matt Strom, who now is going to the All-Star break. Guys are really starting to come on. Jeff Hoffman, who's going to the All-Star break. I mean, guys are starting to really come along. Everything is starting to click. I mean, everything is clicking on all cylinders here when it comes to Phillies.
Being a Tigers fan, you guys acquired Gregory Soto from the Tigers last year. What's the difference between him this year than coming in the second half last year for the Phillies?
Good question. I think it's about finding his groove. I mean, there's been multiple games last season, him coming in, and he was causing me gray hairs. I was getting to the point I was losing my mind. But he's found his niche. He's found his swag. He's found his groove here in Philadelphia. He's took complete command, and his fastballs are becoming unhittable. I mean, things that he's doing on the hill this year are again just remarkable, and things he's turned himself around, turned the season around. He's playing really, really solid baseball, and like I said, maybe it's something going on, the flow in the locker room. I mean, this Phillies team, like I said, I just cannot take away how good it's been, and like I said, for Gregory Soto though, it's just day and night from last year to this year.
And also Nick Castellanos. How's he been this year? And Spencer Turnbull, he threw a no-hitter for Detroit a couple years ago. What has happened to him in Philadelphia?
Again, it's got to be the pitching staff. It's got to be the whole room. I mean, if you're there at Assistant Bank Park, I mean, you can really. What I noticed last year, especially come Red October, come postseason time, there is nothing like feeding off that Philadelphia sports crowd. I mean, that ballpark is packed every day now. And especially this year, I mean, by now I'm usually seeing your cast of blue seats, empty seats, whatever. But this team is packing in every day, and this team feeds off that. This team feeds off the Phillies energy, the Phillies fan energy. Like they're doing such a tremendous job, just working the crowd, and they're using the crowd to their advantage. And everyone's like, well, what's that got? It's something positive that's going on in Philadelphia right now. It's like I said, it's quite remarkable. You mentioned about Nick Castellanos. He's doing okay. He's doing well. And again, his defense game, it's been really, really stepped up. He's stepped up on the defense. He's always clutch. Again, not too long ago. He had a nice home run, kind of got things going for the Fighting Phils. Again, it was a Saturday. They took care of the Oakland A's. He kind of got the party started with a home run, multiple home runs from him. Rojas, guys like him, Rojas. Again, Trey Turner's been a Terminator on the hill as well. So yeah, he's looked good. Spencer Turnbull, again, we were all impressed. Some of us here at the Philly Sports want him to be your fifth starter. We were looking at him to be the fifth. I mean, he's done such a good job of zoned in, getting his commands are there, his fastballs, his sinkers, the curveballs. I mean, it's all there, and that's what's going on there. So I got to give credit to him, the whole team. It's remarkable what they've done so far.
I want to bring up the former Cub, Kyle Schwarber. How well does he fit in Philadelphia? And does he kind of remind you of Greg Luzinski a little bit? Because he's a big guy.
He is a big guy. It's funny you bring him up as well. Me and a co-host of mine, we've always kind of agreed on why is he your leadoff man if he's your power bat? Why is he in your cleanup spot? Why is it somebody else? But you know what? It's about this team being comfortable and the chemistry. Comfortable in chemistry. Like, I can't find no one else to lead off the scene other than Schwarber. I mean, he could get on base. He draws walks. His strikeout ratio is down this year. He's not leading the league in strikeouts like he was in the past few years. He's been doing fine with that. And, of course, when he makes contact, he makes it matter. Of course, he knows how to drive the ball out of the yard. If he's not doing that, it's always a big-time double or triple. He's doing a really, really solid job, man. I'm really impressed with Kyle Schwarber. And like I said, I've been on this here. I've been on multiple shows saying he should be in a cleanup position. And every time I say it, it's a mush on me. So, yeah, he's been a playmaker for Philadelphia.
One player you guys just released, I was shocked because when he was with Kansas City and Toronto, he was solid, he was good, and I thought it was a good offseason acquisition. Walt Whitfield, what happened with him with the Phillies? Was it just he wasn't getting enough playing time to be consistent enough?
No, I think he was getting his playing time. There was something off. He was just, I don't want to use the term, but I mean, it didn't sound like he was fitting in. I mean, guys were making constant contact, and he was just not. He was just not coming up with some big time hits. It was you could see it was inconsistent. He was just not meant for this Phillies lineup. He was just didn't fit the bill. Like you said, during the all season, it looked like it was going to be the perfect fit. Maybe it was going to help this team out, and it turned out not so much, not so fast. It turned out he just didn't fit this team. And right now, with how this team is, I mean. Right now, this team is World Series or bust. So, guys like that who are not driving runs, not having great at bats, it's only a matter of time before they let you go and you have to try out somewhere elsewhere.
What are your thoughts on the job Dave Dombrowski did? Because in the offseason, everybody probably wanted him to make tons of moves, but he basically kept the roster for the most part the same. So, thoughts on the job he's done with the Phillies?
He's done great. I mean, look, your team is in first place, and like you said, a lot of people in the all season were pondering if he was going to make some kind of big splash in the all season, and no, he just stayed still, stayed stale, didn't really make any moves, and the team looked and look, this team is running it back. He's trusts Topper, he trusts Rob Thompson, the Phillies manager, to lead these guys into wins, and Topper is very, very poised. He's very stubborn. He doesn't make a lot of adjustments. The only time he's made any kind of adjustments were through this injury bug that the Phillies have been dealing with. But other than that, he's been really, really solid. He's done a solid job, Dave Dombrowski, of getting this team to back where they are. Now this is going to be a third year headed to what looks to be into the postseason.
What's Rob Thompson's biggest strengths of the manager, in your opinion?
Just like I said, stubborn. He doesn't listen to the fans when the fans tell him to do something. He has a plan. He sticks to it. He doesn't show a lot of emotion. And he knows there's a job that needs to be done. I mean, he's just a solid all around guy. I mean, listen, he knows how to have fun. But when you see him on the sidelines, man, or you see him in that dugout, he's all business. He is all business. He makes the correct calls. And one thing he's done this year, he's let the starting pitching play out. It's not no more about the analytics, no more pulling guys in the fourth or fifth inning. And obviously, if they're dealing with an injury, hope might pull them, or if they're not, playing that well, if they're getting lit up, it's just one of those nights. But for the most part, he lets their starters. I mean, I'm seeing Aaron Nola, I'm seeing Zach Wheeler, I'm seeing Ranger Suarez. Guys go deep, seventh, eighth innings. As far as starting, so that's been unique to me. And what's smart is you're going to salvage and save that bullpen come postseason time. So, but yeah, he's done. That's one of the biggest strengths so far is letting your starters play this thing out.
And you know this too, Pat, being from the Philly area, it's just not easy to be a head coach or a manager in the city of
Well,
Philadelphia. And he seems to be handling it quite well, the pressures of being the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies.
yeah, he is. He's done a fine job. And one thing for sure, if you don't live up to par with it, some guys give you until next week. Some guys will give you 24 hours. I've heard crazy fans, wanting to see this guy out of here. And you just got to be patient. I mean, this is his second go around. You got to remember, he took over the job for Joe Girardi last year. After Joe Girardi got released from the team, being after 12 games out. Now think about that. You're 12 games out, and this guy got you into the postseason, and that was his first go around. The second go around, even though they called it the bonus wild card spot, but 2 years ago he got you in the playoffs. Second year he got you in that first wild card spot. Now you are leading this team. You are the best team in baseball. So every year he's climbing. So there's now, to me, a lot of pressure on this Phillies team. You don't want to have the collapses of the Philadelphia Eagles or the Philadelphia Flyers. You now have to ride this thing out until you get to, like I said, it's World Series or bust.
Okay, the first half is done, and the Phillies, I believe, what was their record? I think 62-34.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming off a loss to Oakland yesterday, 18-3. It happens to all the great teams in Major League Baseball. Is there any concerns or issues that yourself and the media feel that the Phillies do need to address before the trade deadline to improve? Is there an area of this team that needs a little bit more work on?
You know what? It's a lot of that chatter has been going on. A couple guys have given their opinion, thinking they might need another at bat, especially if you saw Brent Rooker yesterday, who just tormented the Phillies yesterday, or Lawrence Butler. I mean, those guys just had a home run derby themselves right here in Philly. But no, it's to me, when you look at this Phillies team, I don't think they need a whole lot to work on. I think if I'm okay with the roster you have now. I mean, it's got you this far. I don't think you need to make any improvements. I mean, of course, if you could bring in another solid bat, you could do that, or a pitcher to make up for Taijuan Walker, fine. But you remember, when it comes to postseason time, they're going to start cutting a lot of that stuff down, so you're not going to get a Taijuan Walker. I mean, last year, Taijuan Walker didn't get the opportunity to sniff the postseason, never got even on the field. So he was just sitting in the dugout eating peanuts. So, and this year, he's had some major struggles. That was the one weakness, and one weakness that the Phillies had. And then they kind of worked on that. Now the Phillies just look like an overall solid, good team. So I don't think they need to address any position right now.
Overall, what's the health like of Bryce Harper so far this year? He's been able to stay healthy for the most part.
Yeah, he's been healthy for the most part. Again, he got injured a little bit, but he's right back to the course, right back to playing Bryce Harper baseball. Just leading this team with all in stats. I mean, he has done a tremendous job just being, again, a leader, a powerful bat. He's done such an amazing job here in Philadelphia.
And I know this is a little bit early, but in terms of all time great Phillies, where do you think Bryce Harper will rank up there once his career is done?
Ooh, good question. I mean, that's hard to for me in my lifetime. I mean, he might sink in at number 10. I mean, there's just so many guys who've come through it. Jimmy Rollins, Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, John Kruk. I mean, there's just been Darren Dalton. I mean, you could go through the list of great Phillies that come here. Your favorite Phillies of all time. Like I said, there's just been so many guys. Bobby Abreu. I mean that 08 team was just, as far as favorite teams though, this has got to be by far everyone's one of their top three Mount Rushmore teams.
And the thing is, from what I see, everybody on the team gets along and they just do their job. And you, like you mentioned before, Pat, it's one night it's Bryce Harper, next night it could be Trey Turner. I wanted to speak to you about that too. Thoughts on shortstop Trey Turner, second year with the Phillies, hitting 349 with 11 home runs, 32 RBIs, and 12 stolen bases. Just what's the difference between him this year than last year and his first year in Philly?
It's funny because out the gates last year, he struggled. He struggled. He struggled real bad. It got to the point heading into the first half of the season where fans were booing and all this stuff, but the fan base didn't turn on him. Actually, turned to help him out, start cheering, starting to get behind him because of his struggles that he couldn't, that he was striking out or he was just hitting pop balls. So the fan base actually got behind him to the point where he turned his season around, and he's played really, really solid baseball. And if you looked at him for the past few weeks, he's been really, really solid. Again, you had Kyle Schwarber injured, you had JT Realmuto, you had Bryce Harper, and he's been electrifying. He's been on fire. Trey Turner has carried this team through the storm. He's been there. He's been. I gotta say, everyone's favorite player right now. He's putting up big time numbers. He's showing great plate discipline. He's getting the pitches that he wants, and he's driving balls out of the park. And if he's not doing that, he is going to sit there and drive to. You're going to the warning track for sure.
Philly fans get such a bad rep because when you think of the Eagle fans, Philly fans, the Flyer fans booing and running guys out of town, but in this case, they really helped turn around Trey Turner's time here in Philadelphia, and now he's become back to an all-star shortstop again.
Yeah, and the fans have, it's like you said, we do get a bad rep. I mean, we've been getting a bad rep since the 70s, right? I mean, throwing snowballs at Santa Claus. I mean, that, my friend, will never be let go by anybody. I mean, we looked at it as a savage animal fan base. But like last year, and as I just talked about, I mean, this team getting right behind Trey Turner and really kind of elevating his game to where it's at now. So that's when I said earlier, I mean, this fan base really gets behind their players and makes it difficult for opposing teams. I mean, I've seen the fan base try and get, opposing players' heads. I mean, you got to think here in Philadelphia at Cincinnati Park. I mean, the dugout, the bullpen for the opposite teams you're right underneath the Philly fan base. I mean, it's like sitting there with a bunch of turkey vultures ready to chomp down, ready to come down. So you're getting the boo, birds, and claws. So I mean, it's a tough place to be with, especially the opposing team, especially come October.
Are the Philly fans right now kind of a little leery with this team, especially with what happened with the Philadelphia Eagles last year, starting the season 10-1 and looking like a Super Bowl team, and then the second half they just had their meltdown? Just thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, cautious, taking day by day, happy where you're at now, but still got to take it day by day. I mean, we've seen it last year with the Braves. I mean, for the past 2 years, they were regular season champions, and then they fell off the wagon. You just mentioned about the Philadelphia Eagles riding high. You're 10-1 heading into week 12, and then fell off the wagon. I mean, after that Niners loss, just couldn't get back on track. So that's where this team is. I mean, everyone's just being precautious. Just taking one game at a time. Everyone's feeling good about what they think they can see the end of the tunnel, but still just being really, really cautious.
You were talking to me before we went live. Ranger Suarez is injured. How serious is his injury? Is he going to miss some time?
He's trying to battle through it. Again, he got hit in his throwing hand. Ranger Suarez is going to look like he's going to miss some time, but if you could get him checked out now and bring him back maybe at the end of the season, and that's just being optimistic. But I mean, he got hit in his throwing hand, and he's trying to battle through it. He's trying to help this team out as much as possibly can. But in the long term, you're going to hurt this team more than you're going to help this team because you're not going to have your commands. Your commands are not going to be there. Your curveballs are going to be off. Your fastballs are not going to be there. Throwing stuff outside the strike zone. So I'd rather someone take his place. I would rather have him relax, get healthy, and come back. And that's what I need him to do. So severe, I don't know, but I mean, I like to see. We should get a little bit more of an update where we're at with him as far as coming out of the second half. So we'll see where he's at, how he's feeling. Again, he's a warrior, so he wants to be on the hill trying to help his team out. But like I said, you'll be able to tell once he gets back on the hill and starts throwing the ball around where he's at, because you're going to say, again, like I said, leading up to this, he was the best pitcher in baseball. Now, like I said, dealing with this injury, his stats have dropped down some. Like I said, he had the most wins in MLB, all that, but it's kind of dropped down a little bit. So I'm just hopefully it's not too severe. Like I said, I like to see the guy take a little bit more of a long-term break, then get back full health and get us ready for the postseason.
Who's been the first half on-song hero for the Phillies? Sort of like an X factor.
You can, like I said, you can really pinpoint anyone on that All-Star break, on that All-Star team. You can really, I like to go to Trey Turner. I think Trey Turner's done an amazing job being the workhorse for this team. Again, just playing out of his mind right now. I mean, I could also go to Bryce Harper, so JT Realmuto. I mean, has some nice pop. But if I'm going to pick, or Alec Bohm leads the league with 33 doubles right now. So, I mean, he's doing a phenomenal job. So I would have to go to Trey Turner. Trey Turner, to me, has just been the workhorse. Like I said, the team's dealing with an injury bug, and he's just been playing solid baseball right now.
Who do the Phillies open up the All-Star break after the All-Star break up against?
Going across the state, heading out to Pittsburgh.
And the Pirates are playing pretty good baseball. They're almost, I think they're at 500, and they've got that young, sensational pitcher as well. So, I'm so happy. That organization has struggled for so long. I know in Philadelphia, it's Pittsburgh, you hate them, but the Pirates, man, they haven't had much success in a long time, and it's nice to see them at 500. And that should be a great series at PNC Park, and I would expect with a lot of Philly fans down there, it's going to be sold out.
Yeah, it's going to be sold out. It's going to be a great time. Again, we have guys taking a quick little flight out there, going to have themselves a good time. But yeah, it's one of the most beautiful parks in MLB is PNC Park. So, but yeah, it should be a fun series. See where, again, get to take a look at that young kid, and of course get to see where the Pirates are at, where they stand, and all that stuff. Get a little taste of them as well, and yeah, it should be a lot of fun.
Quick thoughts on the Major League Baseball draft, and you guys took a player from Northville High School in Michigan, which isn't far from Detroit, an outfielder named Dante Nore with the 27th pick. What did you think of the Major League draft and some of the Phillies picks?
Again, it's a little pretty hard to judge because again, college and pros are just two different worlds, and I see that's why I'm not a big guy with college football or anything like that, because it's just two different worlds. I mean, I've seen one of the greatest quarterbacks in college football history, Tim Tebow, just poop the bed in the pros. So it's two different worlds right now. But I mean, look, I'll see exciting once I start to see him a little bit, next year in AA baseball and such, or when he comes through the farm system. I'll be excited to go and make a couple of trips out to Reading, PA, and stuff like that. Take a look at the kid.
You watched the All-Star home run contest tonight, and thoughts on the All-Star game tomorrow. And to me, out of all the All-Star games in professional sports, Major League Baseball has the best All-Star game, in my opinion.
Oh, really? Okay. Of course, I'm going to be a little bit of a homer here. I'm going to be obviously rooting for Alec Bohm to see if he can win this whole thing. I'd be really excited to see if he can win here for Philadelphia. But I mean, guys like Aaron Judge and Ohtani, I mean, it's a little hard to do when those guys are absolutely having a monster season this year. So it's going to be really hard to compare to. But of course, I like to see. Like I said, this is going to be interesting for me to go check this out.
Absolutely. And what do you think of the new rules in baseball? The bigger bases, the pitch clock. How do you like those little bit of changes? And the ghost runner at second base when it goes to extra innings?
You know what? That might have been the only change I don't like is the ghost runner. But other than that, and when I looked at the pitch count, because to me, baseball is such a mindset sport. I mean, mind game sport. I mean, take your time. You're trying to really trying to trick up the batter and all that stuff. So to me, I wasn't a fan of it at first, but once you get into the rhythm of it, it's like okay, the game's got to speed up a little bit. Again, you have kids today who just can't sit through, like you and I growing up, can't sit through 9 innings of baseball like that anymore. So it kind of hurries up the speed of the game. I mean, because when you look around, I mean, football, hockey, basketball, those guys are moving lightning speed, and they're trying to make the game more interesting and stuff. So I think that's a really good component. But the only one I don't like is the ghost runner. I think that's a shortcut of trying to end the game.
Absolutely. It's just like the shootout in hockey. I think it's a terrible way to decide a competition by an individual skills competition. So I agree
And,
with you on Pat.
yeah, and to knock on the NHL some more, but why have a shootout in the regular season if you don't have it in the postseason? It just doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely. So I'm hoping Major League Baseball will reconsider that at some point. Pat, just going to get on to the Eagles right now.
Okay.
Before we get to the Eagles, yes or no? This Phillies team, do you think they can go all the way as of right now?
Yeah, they're if they get back to full health, if they get back healthy, this team's on top. This team is driven. I can't see teams beat this team in a series. It's going to be hard to do.
Is there one team in the National League you kind of think they could play the Phillies tough if they met up with them in the postseason?
The only team that scares me, and I know a lot of Phillies fans overlook it, the Braves. The Braves always Phillies and Braves again. That's in the rivalry. That is that's one team that scares me. I mean, listen, they lost Spencer Hall this year, and again, that's the one team that scares me. Those guys got guys who could, especially 1 through 5, in that pitching order, that batting order, uh, scares the life out of me. They got guys who can hit. Azuna, Albies, Austin Riley. Those guys can hit.
I'm making a prediction. I know it's a little bit early here, July 15th. I think we're going to see a rematch of the 1983 World Series between the Baltimore Orioles and the Philadelphia Phillies if things go according to plan.
A lot of people are predicting that too. And listen, I hope so because this way it's only like a 45-minute drive for me up both ways. So I mean, it won't bother me so much.
Orioles are, and I'm so happy to see them playing good again because
Yes.
they're a proud franchise and they had a lot of bad years, bad ownership, bad management, and they're back to being a contender again. And I would love to see that matchup between the Orioles and the Phillies in the World Series if that happens.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that would be. I mean, like I said, a lot of guys from who were born in the '80s, grew up in the '80s, would love to see that matchup as well. Like to see the showdown once again between the Orioles and Phillies.
Absolutely. Pat, we're going to get to the Eagles now if you got a few more minutes, but just
Sure.
quick thoughts on the 2023 Eagles and what the hell happened in the second half of that season meltdown, and what is the mood right now in Philadelphia towards the Philadelphia Eagles heading into the 2024 season?
Uh, I think it's good. I think there's a lot of excitement. People are going to try to forget about what happened. So, like I said, a lot of people are going to try to forget what happened there in the 2024 season. I mean, 2023 season. So it was, like I said, a lot of bad baseball. But however, this Phillies team, I'm sorry, this Eagles team, excuse me there. Like I said, it's hard to do.
I think I lost you there, Pat. I can see you, but
I'm
I can't
here.
hear you. Okay, I can hear you.
Okay, you got.
Yep. Now I can't hear you. I can see you, Pat. I just lost your audio. So everybody, I just apologize. We're going to try to get Pat's audio back here. I think
You
we
got
got it
me.
back. Okay. It
So,
happens.
like I said, the Philadelphia Eagles again. You start at 10-1, but it was like a cautious 10-1 team. I mean, they were barely winning games. The play calling to me was just so.
Oops. I think, Pat, your audio's out again. guys. Well,
No, there.
yeah, perfect.
So to me, again, the Eagles, again, the average play calling, nothing really was crazy. Nothing really stood out to me this year, other than the tush push. Other than AJ Brown had a great first half. I mean, he had a monster game and monster first half of the season. But I mean, other than that, I mean, they were barely winning games. And the offense was just so predictable, and it got to the point where I don't think the team even cared anymore. I mean, I know I'm going to get a lot of heat for this in Philadelphia, but I don't care. And I said this, time in and time out. Jason Kelsey, he was sitting there doing, podcasts.
Pat, I think we lost your audio again. You were mentioning Jason Kelsey. Everybody, I
I'm
apologize.
sorry. I apologize.
It's okay. No, you're just go ahead.
Yes. So again, I think everybody just got so invested with, I don't think he was invested in this team anymore. It got to the point where I just constantly seeing these guys doing podcasts and not focusing on the team as a leader. To me, you should be front forward about this. You should be trying to talk your young players into the game. And like I said, I don't think no one bought into the team. I think the coach's message, I thought Nick Sirianni's message got old. I think no one bought into him anymore. I think people are turning their backs on, obviously, on Brian Johnson. His playbook got old real fast, and obviously they moved on from him. So, I mean, that hurt you. And again, you go from Shane Steichen to Brian Johnson, a big difference, world of a difference as far as play calling. So, I mean, like I said, you're walking on eggshells pretty much this whole season. But when the Niners hit you on week 12, I mean, that opened the floodgates. I mean, listen, that was revenge tour. We all knew that from 2022. That was revenge tour for the Niners. They came in with one thing: beat the snot of the birds in their own town, and they did. They did a heck of a job. But then then you lost to Dallas. You lost 6 out of 7 games after that. Then you just didn't show up against the Bucs.
I wanted to ask you this too. We brought up Brian Johnson. How much of an impact was that on Jalen Hurts? Because to me, he regressed last year.
He did regress last year. I mean, he had the third most interceptions with 15 of them last year. I mean, he didn't play that well last year. Again, he wasn't able to beat Jalen Hurts. Again, that's expected. A quarterback with his magnitude to kind of take a step back, but to have that much of a step back, yeah. That hurts. I mean, people knew opposing defense knew where he wanted to go with the ball.
Since we're talking about the Eagles, how do the fans feel about the retirement of Jason Kelsey and Fletcher Cox? Was it time for both of them to move on, or do you think both of them could have played another year if they wanted to?
I think the writing was on the wall for both of those guys. I mean, listen, Jason Kelsey, if I'm going to knock on it for the outside stuff, field stuff, that's all right. But I mean, what he did on the field, and he gave us a lot of love. Man. He played his heart out on that field for most of the Eagles, as his tenure as an Eagle. I mean, he really did. I mean, he got us to the Super Bowl. We all know his crazy and wacky Super Bowl speech, but I mean, he put this. He really does have this city tattooed on his sleeves. I mean, he has a tremendous cause down the shore with autism. And he does a really phenomenal job as far as Philadelphia. He loves his town. I cannot take that away from the guy.
Thoughts on Fletcher Cox, and do you see Kelsey and Fletcher Cox eventually getting into the NFL Hall of Fame, or you figure the Eagles Hall of Fame?
That's a good question. Definitely you're going to be a Hall of Famer, but Kelsey might actually get into the Hall of Fame. He might have the numbers to get him in there. But yeah, it's going to be fun to see what he can, if he does get the cult at all. I mean, obviously I'm going to back him. And again, another one. It gave a great tender to Philadelphia. It had some amazing sacks here. Got an opportunity to see him walk out of an Eagles game, hop into his car, and drive out of here after a nice Eagles win a couple years back. But like I said, other than that, I mean, great guys. But look, it's time to pass the torch, and this is going to be our last year with the Brandon Graham, And after that era of Eagles football is pretty much over.
Who on this Eagles team do you see stepping up this year and taking over for as a leadership role, like Cox and Kelsey did for many years?
Well, I mean, you also got Lane Johnson there, and Jalen Hurts has been kind of that mouthpiece. He wants to be the leader. He wants to be the guy. He wants to be that mouthpiece. He wants to be the guy who puts out. Literally, he put the team on his back and done. Other than the touch push, he wants to be that guy. Eventually, hey, listen, I'm the captain here. Let's get things rocking and rolling.
Leads to my next question, Pat. Were you surprised that owner Jeffrey Lowry retained head coach Nick Sirianni, and just the thoughts on the 9 new coaches on this Eagles staff?
That's a good question because, like I said, this is year 2 of Nick Sirianni. Again, he got you to a Super Bowl. So for you to walk, one bad year, again, you still had 10 wins on your belt. But for obviously we all saw the team get derailed. But I mean, it's still. You still owe them 1 more year. Now, listen, if they come out 0-4, 0-5, we might be singing a different tune, and Jeffrey Lord might be looking, he might be going shopping a little bit. So, but I mean, look, the guy got you. The guy, another one, Nick Sirianni gets very emotional about the team. He loves this team. He loves the atmosphere of this team. He loves the atmosphere of the city, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you got to get the W's, and we'll see what he can do coming up here. But yeah, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see on this upcoming season. What does he have the room? Does he have the room or not? Because if you don't have the room after 4 games, you know where you stand.
I'm assuming he's on the hot seat with all the new coaches, and if this team gets off to a slow start, like you just mentioned there, Pat, he could very well be gone by October or November, because Jeffrey Lowry's not afraid to fire coaches. Look at Doug Peterson, fired him 3 years after Super Bowl win. Yeah.
I mean, Chris, you're absolutely right. I mean, look at the tenders, right? You went through the Chip Kelly's 2-3 years, Doug Peterson 2 years. I mean, they don't last long. I mean, they go through coaches around here like I go through cookies. So Nick Sirianni, I mean, again, kind of dwelling on that hot seat right now. So like you said, you got a brand new coaching staff, and I get you. You're going to have to kind of make your adjustments. Listen, you got till September to kind of figure it out. Especially, like I said, you're going to open up on a Friday night against Green Bay. So again, it's going to be no walk in the park. So you better find out real fast what this team is capable of.
Just quick thoughts on the new defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, Kellen Moore from the Dallas Cowboys, Doug Nussmeier, and just thoughts on those guys taking over.
You know what, Chris, I actually like the moves. I mean, Vic Fangio is going to play no nonsense defense. It's something this town really, really loves. We all know about his pedigree here. Again, it's his welcome back party. And then you have Kellen Moore, which people are curious to know what he's going to bring. Now, I've talked to a couple of Cowboy fans. They said good luck with that. So it's going to be curious to know what adjustments. Maybe he needed a new scenery. So I'm being a little optimistic with that. Again, you've seen a lot of good years with Dak Prescott down there. Maybe he can bring some of that formula over here.
Absolutely. And like I said, it's going to be very interesting in training camp and in the first months of the season how this team gets off. What are your thoughts on A.J. Brown as well? Like last year at the end of the season, he was kind of getting frustrated there. Do you feel he is a team player? And what I'm trying to say is, could A.J. Brown end up being shipped out of Philly like Stephon Diggs was shipped out at Buffalo?
You know what? I mean, listen, he's passionate. Obviously, he wasn't seen his first 2 games. Wasn't seen The Rock too many times. So, listen, and him and Jalen Hurts had some words on the sidelines. But after that, he went on the terror. Then again, he got a little bit frustrated. So, I get it. So, but we'll see what happens. Like I said, do I see him get shipped out? No, not with that attitude. He's just, just like he's feeling he's feeling what we're feeling. We want to see plays being made. And we weren't getting that. So, I mean, whether he wants to blame the quarterback, that's on him. But to me, at the end of the day, it's all about the playbook and how creative can you be with it.
What kind of an impact will running back Saquon Barkley have on the Eagles' offense? Getting him.
You know what? It's weird. I mean, a lot of people are up in the air with it. I mean, they're going to kick the tires on this guy to see what he has left in the tank from, because we all know the running back game is like it's not meant for the long haul here. So again, the Eagles are again a guy from Penn State, guy from the area. That's all. That's a great story to finish up with. But to me, it's I don't know. I'm not really again excited. I mean, like I said, you're going to kick the tires on one of the veteran running backs here, and all I got to do is just sit back and see what happens. But for me, that one of the better spots right now.
Well, they got Gainwell too. Is
Yeah.
Boston Scott still on the roster, or did they release Boston Scott?
I believe I believe that they released him. So,
Okay.
and he was another playmaker. I liked what he done out of the backfield for the Birds too. I mean, between him and Swift last year. I mean, Swift had some explosive plays last year. I really liked what he did with the Birds.
But with Barkley, I think if he can stay healthy, he can get 1,000, 1,100 yards rushing. And if he can contribute, it'll take some of the pressure off Jalen Hurts too. So Jalen Hurts doesn't have to do as much. This team should be very, very good offensively. I'm more concerned about the defense. And I wanted to ask you this question since I was at the NFL draft in Detroit. Do you feel the Eagles addressed some of their needs in the 2024 draft in Detroit and their first round pick, a quarterback out of Toledo named Quentin Mitchell?
I don't know. Again, I don't have too much paperwork on college players. But I mean, to me, it's how do you make up for the production of Hassan Riddick? Hassan Riddick was just an edge rusher. He was up the gut, getting quarterbacks, getting the running backs. To me, I mean, he was your best best defensive player last year. I mean, I believe he led the team in sacks last year. So, and you just lost that. So, to me, how do you make up for lost ground? Like you said, a lot of concern to see on the defense side of the ball. So that's again with all the new pieces coming in, it's going to be a wait and see game.
Yeah, because I think it was 20 years since the Eagles took a cornerback in the first round. And I think they took, two cornerbacks, I believe? Cooper DeJean, a cornerback out of Iowa. So it's been a while since the Eagles did that. So the Eagles, I think, offensively are going to be good. I think their special teams will be good, bringing back Jake Elliott. But my concern with this team is going to be the front four, the linebackers, and the secondary. The secondary especially was a concern last year.
And Chris, you know what? You caught my ear with something. How many times did Jake Elliott bail you out of games this year?
Mr.
I mean,
Reliable.
He was reliable. I mean, listen, that guy. One thing for sure, you can put the ball wherever, 60 yards out, holding out, but you can't be relying on your kicker to bail you out in most games. So, but yeah, curious to see what they do on the defense side of the ball with all the the kids they picked up. So again, just going to be a wait and see game.
Dallas really didn't do much in the offseason. The Giants, who knows with them, and Washington. To me, this division still can be the Eagles, but it's going to all start with their defense and how their defense does. And we'll see what happens with Nick Sirianni because, like I said, I think he's on a bigger hot seat than Mike McCarthy is in Dallas. I know that's crazy to say that, but
yeah. Well, listen, Dallas fans, I know are have had it. I know Dallas fans probably have had it with the Dak Prescott tour. So, that's one thing that you have to keep your eye on, see how how their season plays out. But like you said, on paper, to me, the Birds are still the best team, the team to beat. But again, on paper and reality are two different things.
who could be an X factor on the Eagles this year?
Ooh. I'm going to say the guy who just got one of the biggest paydays. I'm going to say Devontae Smith. I mean, I think he's going to be another. I think he's going to find himself catching a lot of balls this year. Again, the tag team work between him and Mr. AJ Brown on the outsides. I think your X factor is going to be Devontae Smith.
We have another viewer, Philip.
Yes. Philip is our Edge of Philly Sports Monday through Friday sports host. So you guys can catch him here on Edge of Philly Sports Monday through Fridays at 8 a.m. I mean, the guy, he's sensational. I love that guy. He's got a phenomenal beard too.
Well, thank you, Philip, for watching this show. I really appreciate it. And finally, we're going to wrap it up with a couple more questions here, Pat.
Sure.
Can you just tell us about the latest happenings with the Edge of Philly sports as a beat reporter covering the Major League Soccer League's Philadelphia Union and the National Lacrosse League's Philadelphia Wings? And I know the Union are having a tough season, and they just came off a 2-1 loss at home to the Toronto FC recently.
Yeah, it's not so well. I mean, for the teams I covered, whether it's Philadelphia Wings or the Philadelphia Union, I'm covering two losing franchises. I'm covering two teams that had their coaches on the hot seats. But I mean, for overall, I mean, it's a blast to cover games. I love covering Philadelphia sports. Edge of Philly sports. I want to say, to their front office has granted me fruition. They would trust me to go cover sports for them, and I love it. I mean, love being down there, love the atmosphere, love seeing the fans coming through. People know me. I love seeing the catering that comes through the press box. Love talking with the people, love talking with the fans, getting, having great conversations, all that and more. I mean, I love it. I mean, could the franchises be a little better? I would hope so, but I mean, that's for the players and coaches to decide. I just love writing stories, love reporting stories. I mean, my articles are on Edge of Philly Sports' website. Matter of fact, my latest one should be popping up there relatively soon for the latest Union game. But yeah, I mean, Edge of Philly Sports, man, we're trying to crush right now. I mean, we have a bunch of platforms and shows right now. But I mean, like you said, you talked though about being a writer. I mean, like I said, Jim Curran right now with the Philadelphia Union again losing 7 straight games. It's been, you lost 7 out of 9 games, and it's been a real struggle for the Philadelphia Union right now. Again, this team got derailed. You want to talk about a team that got derailed? You lost your best goaltender, Andre Plague, as far as injuries, and you lost to your Julian Carranza. He got transferred to overseas. So right now the team's inconsistent right now as far as bringing in talent, and of course. Just inconsistent with a bunch of young kids and no one really. There's no identity to the soccer team. So, and of course, you look at the Philadelphia Wings. Got to had a lot of conversations with Paul Day again. Paul Day, a Toronto native as well, who coaches this Philadelphia Wings team. But he stepped down this year. And I did ask him the question. Hey, you guys play really good on the road, but not at home. And I asked him that, is the pressure harder at home than it is on the road? And he broke down in tears. He answered answered the question, but he started breaking down in tears. And man, he loved again another guy kind of wears Philadelphia on the sleeves, and he just doesn't want to be on the losing side. So he stepped down as a head coach. He's just going to take on the general manager role right now. So the Philadelphia Wings don't have a head coach right now.
Long term, how do you obviously, Pat, when we think of Philly, we think of the Eagles, the Phillies, the Flyers, and the Sixers. Long term, do you feel the Philadelphia Union and the Philadelphia Wings will be there? The Wings have obviously have a long history of lacrosse in Philly, but do you find both these franchises can survive long term in Philadelphia?
They can, and the only way you could do that is winning. Now, listen, it's funny you brought that up because 2 years ago, again, this is a town that's known for your 4 for 4, like you just mentioned. You mentioned about the Phillies, Eagles, Flyers, and Sixers. But, it's funny because the Union had been here for 14, 15 years. Last 2 years ago, they went on a run and they made it to the MLS Finals. And your usual casual Philadelphia sports fans, MLS soccer TV rings were up by 20%. Because when a Philadelphia team, no matter what the sport is, if they're in a championship bout, the whole city comes together to come support it. So, and now, like I said, now they got to find ways to get out of the basement. They are literally in the basement. And the same thing with the Philadelphia Wings. They got again, winning. You pick up W's, you will draw your fans. It's that easy. I mean, the more wins you put into the building, and showing your fan base that you really care, that's how the fan base will come to you. So, same thing. So that's what the Philadelphia Wings got to work on. And now the Philadelphia Water Dogs, the PLL Philadelphia Water Dog team. So, again, a bunch of playmakers over there, but that's a team that's struggling at 1-4.
Wow. All right, Pat. Hey, one thing about the National Lacrosse League, is everybody talks about the big four, but I like to put the National Lacrosse League up there because people don't realize how talented, competitive, and hardworking these lacrosse players are as well.
Oh yeah, those guys again. I'm down there just like you. We're down there. We get there extra early, get to see these guys work out, stretch, hit the weights, eating right. I mean, these guys are professional athletes at the end of the day, and it's not easy. I mean, I know, yeah, Gary Krupp and those guys will tell you I get a little too hard on Zach Higgins, but I mean, listen, I mean, that ball's flying you at 67 miles an hour, I mean, when your defense is not there, it's a little hard to do trying to make those stops. So yeah, kudos to those guys, man. They're for staying in great shape, and then of course, just being regular guys after work. So I mean, after the game. So I mean, I really got to meet some of those guys on a personal level. I really got to have a great conversation with those guys.
It's a fan-friendly driven league, and it's a blue-collar sport, and that's why it's so successful in Buffalo. And I think you're right. If the Wings can turn it around like they did in the past with their championship teams, I think Philadelphia could easily become a lacrosse town again like Buffalo is.
You just got to be right. You just got to make it a destiny. Listen, you got Mitch Jones here again, a playmaker. You got Joe Terrence, another playmaker here. I mean, you got Ben McIntosh. I mean, you got some playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. It's just if the defense is going to be there for the goaltending, that was a major problem with that team. So, like I said, if they could turn their season around and become like the Buffalo Bandits. I mean, listen, a team that ran it back. But you have to start winning games here. And listen, right now in the current NLL, it's a little hard to do because you got good teams like Buffalo, Toronto, Rochester's coming along,
San Diego,
you got Thunderbirds. You got some teams out there. So it's a little tougher, when the teams around you get, even no one saw the New York Reptile being anything than what it is, but they came out of nowhere. With Jeff T's treat, those guys could play a little bit. So yeah, like I said, the Philadelphia Wings guy just handled the business in front of them.
I'm happy to. I'm sad to see them leave New York, but I think Ottawa will be a great addition to the National Lacrosse League. New York, I just don't think they were in the right situation in that market, and there's so many teams there. So I think Ottawa is great, and New York State's got Buffalo, Rochester, and Albany. And I just thought it was ridiculous having 4 out of your 15 teams from one state. So I think the move to Ottawa was great. But I'd like to see another team in the league as well. And I did like the unified standings too, by the way. Scrap the traveling stuff and basically 1 versus 8. And I
love that.
I'm a fan of unified standings.
You know what? It's funny you said that, Chris, because I mentioned on my previous podcast, I said the rest of the major sports leagues should be like this. Should be like the NLL. I mean, make it 1 through 8 and make it your top. None, like you said, no conference, all that. Just 1 through 8. Whoever's the top 8 teams, make it, and that's it. You don't have to, like you said, don't have to worry about the hey, this your best West. No, one single 1 through 8.
It makes the regular season games even more important and matchups.
Yes.
This matchup, some teams don't match up well. The Toronto Rock can dominate the National Lacrosse League, but when they play one certain team from Western New York and Buffalo, they just can't get it done. And it might have been different because Georgia nearly upset the Bandits, and it could have been Toronto and Georgia. One of those teams could have been in the NL Finals. Right. To me, I got to give the league credit for what they did with their switching up the league and getting rid of the divisions.
Right, and again, solid point by you, Chris, because that's like I said, that you want to play a little bit more, but it gives you a little bit more of a hope to trying to get into the playoffs. You play every one of your games with meaning, and you want to make it into the playoffs until pretty much the last 2 games of the season when you officially know that you're eliminated, but still, it gives you hope trying to get into the doorstep. There's always that, hey, listen, we have a chance. We have a chance. We have a chance.
Especially when you want to, that first round is 1 game, win or go home. You want to get one of those top 4 seeds to have that home game because home field in the National Lacrosse League is huge.
Yes, yeah. It's home field advantage says everything, and you need it. And listen, you need your fans behind you. Especially, you said, when you get in those one-and-done situations, you're going to need your fans to support you every which way.
Pat, finally, what's one fun fact about yourself, and where can my audience follow you and the Edge of Philly Sports online? And when's the next time you're going to be on air?
One fun fact about me, man, I just like having fun. I just, I wake up. Listen, everyone from the Edge of Philly Sports family will tell you, I wake up with a grind attitude. I want to get things done. If I'm not writing articles, I'm like doing shows. If I'm not doing shows, I like producing shows. I like being a part of this. This is you and I have what I call a niche for this thing. You and I want to make this a long term, big. Whatever comes our way, we're excited. And just like I said, one thing I love about doing this, I've been doing this now for just about 6 years. I've met some great people, guys like you, Chris, and so many people from across the world. I've really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed meeting people and shaking hands. Just becoming friendly with a lot of people. People hit me up. People are fans of my shows. People say, "Hey, look, when you're in a gym working out, say, hey, I watch your show. And you have no idea who the person is." But just getting that kind of respect and people want to hang out with you and get to kind of talk to you, it's a lot of fun, man. I really appreciate doing this thing. And guys, if you want to check out my next podcast, you can check me out this upcoming Saturday morning. I will be doing a live soccer show for the Philadelphia Union. So guys, catch that. And of course, you get catch me Sunday mornings at PM and the AM. Sunday mornings talking Philadelphia sports. Me, Mike Laro. One thing we'll make you laugh. We fight. We talk about food. It's a great product. I highly suggest you guys check us out.
What time is your soccer show on Saturday?
8 a.m.
8 a.m.
I'm
Okay.
an early bird. So me and Steve Fernandez, we get things done. 8 a.m. Saturday morning. We talk about Philadelphia Union, how they crash landed up there in Toronto, and how can this team how can this team go from roadkill to once being where they were. So we'll break that all down.
And you're on all social media platforms, is right?
Yeah, I'm on there. As guys can check me out at Pat from Ambler on X. You guys can check me out Pat Bernard, or you guys can check me on TikTok as well as the Gobbler. So, because if you know me, I like to eat, and I mean, it's Chris. And one of these days, once you come through Philly, man, I'm going to get you to have some scrapple, some cheesesteaks, some water ice, some pretzels. I mean, I could load up that belly. I mean, listen, one thing about the Gobbler, you hang with me, the guys, everyone will tell you, this guy can eat. So.
Cheesesteak and a beer sounds good.
You're right. Listen, you put on my tab.
Absolutely. And Edge of Philly Sports is at what? EOPsports.com.
You get EOPsports.com. Give us a subscribe. Check out all of our articles, man. We have a lightning and a plethora of hardworking dogs. I mean, these guys work all run the clock. I mean, they're not, like I said, these guys ain't doing shows. These guys are truly the hungry dogs of Philly Sports Podcast. I mean, these guys, we talk Eagles, Flyers, Sixers, you name it. We talk pro wrestling for the Steel Steps crew. I mean, we got everything that you want. They got a golf show now, so we got golfing. We got just about everything that you want. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, I would suggest you guys check us out.
Hey, before I go, Pat, I forgot to ask you this. What's your thoughts quickly on the retirement of Glenn McNow? What is it? How you pronounce it?
Glenn McNow?
Yeah.
Again, a legend in this town, and it's crazy because within the last year, I've seen three of my favorite sports hosts retire. I got to see Andrew Catali retire. I mean, again, in morning sports hosts, you got to see Ray Dinger, who was on sports radio for a while. Again, Eagles' great beat reporter, and of course now Glenn McNow, another legend in the city. So guys who've come up and paid ways for a lot of us guys who we try to emulate. Him, Mike Missinelli. You have Anthony Gargano. Oh, Uncle Bernie. That's my Uncle Bernie from South Carolina checking in. But yeah, you got a lot of guys who, like I said, Uncle Bernie, give my guy Chris Pompey a follow. Check out his show live from the ATL area, Bernie. So I know you're not too far away. So again, it's just like a lot of those guys paved the way for us. So again, we try to emulate. I became good friends with those guys as well. I got me and Mike Missinelli. We exchange conversations a lot. We talk a lot. We bounce ideas off each other's minds. It's great once you get to know these guys.
And I'm also happy Merle Reese is going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame
Yes,
as a broadcaster. Long overdue.
totally agree. Long, long overdue. Again, a legend in the city. Um, again, the way he broadcasts it makes you feel like you're part of the game. And that's something, about some of these guys, man. Once they do their shows and do their broadcasting, man, they make you feel like you're part of them. And guys like him, a guy who just recently retired, Mark Zumhoff, again, a Northeast Philly guy where I'm from originally. We grew up in the same area. But yeah, a broadcaster for the 76ers retired. So, a couple, like I said, it's been, then you got Kate Scott now who does broadcasting. Again, she's doing a phenomenal job. You guys got Tom McCarthy for the Phillies, Jim Jackson, who's been doing Flyers broadcasting for over 3 decades. I mean, just got to meet him not too long ago.
Great guy.
He's a great guy. So some of these great, you get to meet some of these guys. So great people.
Absolutely. And I'm hoping to get down to Philadelphia because I want to see a Phillies game and I want to go to a game at the Link. I've never been to the Link and I want to go to an
Oh,
Eagles home game to experience it.
oh, Chris, you might never want to go back home. I'll tell you that. It's just that. Well, I mean, when they have NCAA lacrosse down here, I get the opportunity to cover it, walking through the locker rooms, and you're walking through, the press box, and you're sitting there in the post game interviews, and you're looking at, I feel like Rudy, just being in the locker room. It's just, it hits you in the chest, and especially, after the game where I got to see Notre Dame win their championship, but me standing on the Eagles turf, I felt shockwaves run through my legs. Like, here I am standing on a football field I've been dreaming about standing on since I was a little boy.
To me, the two best sports cities in North America, Philadelphia and Detroit. And being at that NFL draft, 775,000 fans in 3 days in downtown Detroit. And Philly loves their Eagles, but I'll tell you this, if Detroit Lions ever win a Super Bowl, they will have at least 2-3 million people downtown Detroit as well.
Yeah, that's a part of waiting to happen again. And listen, they got a great head coach. They got a head coach people like playing for. You just see it. He's got that attitude. He's got the swag. He's got the attitude that people just want to come play for. And same thing, like I said, with Philadelphia. It's funny because when we had the draft down here, everyone thinks Eagle fans are these bad group of people. No, the draft goes down here. Everyone's in chill mode. Everyone wants to relax, chill with you, talk with you. That's how it is right now.
Absolutely. And I want to say thanks to Ryan and Philip and your Uncle Bernie for watching. Hey, Pat, I want to say thank you so much for giving me an hour plus of your time. And especially with your son, too. What's your son's name again?
My son Dominic. You probably heard him in the background talking to his daddy. But yeah, that's my son right now, Dominic. He's saying hi. And that's him wanting to eat like his dad.
Future broadcaster.
Yes, he is. He's a good guy.
Well, Pat, I want to say thank you again so much for giving us some time to talk Phillies, Eagles, and a little bit about the Union and Wings. And
Sure.
One day I'll run into you in Philadelphia and we'll have a beer.
Yes.
One of your Philadelphia's craft beers and one of those Philly cheesesteaks as well.
Oh man, listen. You first of all, I'll take you to a cheesesteak spot if you want to go. Listen, I know people have the Del Sandros. There's about like 12 of them. Really good. You got Del Sandros, Pass, Geno's, Tony Luke's. I mean, you could just pick one, any avenue, and you can. There's not a bad one in sight.
What's the best beer in Philadelphia?
Yeah, listen, I don't go down the avenue because that's a fight waiting to happen for people. I mean, people like their England, people like the Mill Lights, people like all that stuff, man. I can't give you per se of best beer.
All right. Well, Pat, thank you so much for coming on here tonight, and we'll talk to you soon. And again, people can find your website at eopsports.com, and you're on all social media platforms as well.
Yeah, guys, check out Edge of Philly Sports. Give us a subscription. It doesn't cost you nothing. It's all free. So give us a subscription. We'll love to hear from you. And guys, and Chris, thank you so much. For guys who checked on my side, please give Chris Pompey right here a follow, man. He does a great job. He is a dog. He is a hungry dog. Here in Philadelphia, we like hungry dogs. Give this guy a follow. This guy is on all social media platforms, covering everything Detroit, Buffalo. He's all over the place. And he loves Philadelphia sports. What better way about that? You know what I mean?
I look at myself as an underdog. But anyways, go take care of your son,
Yeah.
Dominic, and
Yeah.
we'll talk to you soon, Pat. Thank you so much for coming on, buddy.
Thank you, buddy. See ya.
All right, guys, that was season 8, episode 29 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership here in Guelph. Again, that was Pat Bernard, a reporter with the Edge of Philly Sports, and he's also a beat reporter for the Major League Soccer League's Philadelphia Union and National Lacrosse League's Philadelphia Wings. Before we wrap up this show, guys, I did an interview a couple weeks ago down at Salem Field in downtown Buffalo with one of the Bisons, now up with the Blue Jays, outfielder Stuart Baroa. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please type in Chris Palme and hit that subscribe notification. Stuart Baroa of the Toronto Blue Jays when he was down in Buffalo a couple weeks ago. Chris Palme here, radio host of Live with CDP Sports Talk on WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia. I'm here at Salem Field in downtown Buffalo for tonight's Buffalo Bisons game against the Syracuse Mets. You can hear Mark, one of the Bison's #1 fans, here in the background. And I have a special guest here with me tonight as well from the Buffalo Bisons. Outfielder Stuart Baroa. Stuart, just thoughts on the first half of the season so far?
First of all, thank you for the opportunity. And, we were a good team, up and downs. And I think as a team, we grew up a lot, we learned a lot. And we are here ready to try to make the playoff for the second half.
Can you tell my audience a little bit about yourself and who were some of your early baseball influences in your career?
I'm Dominican, Stuart. I'm 25 years old. And when I grew up, I was watching Jose Reyes and Derek Jeter. So that's kind of two of my favorite players in big league.
Is there a story behind your number that you wear for the Bisons?
No, I just, they told me this year was the first year that they have the number 0. So I think I'm just like to be a little special, and I just decided to grab that number.
What's your thoughts on the Toronto Blue Jays organization and playing here in Buffalo for the Bisons?
I think it's a great organization. They've been treating us well, like try to make us as better person and really good ball player to try to win a World Series. And I think they have been doing a really good job with us, with the young players.
In the second half, Stuart, what part of your game are you trying to improve upon? And what's one word to describe you as a baseball player?
A grinder. I would say grinder. And I think I just want to keep grinding, keep working hard. And I think results they're going to show up. So I just try to control what I can control at the moment.
What's a fun fact about you that the Bisons and Blue Jay fans might not know about you?
I know how to cook. I like the salsa, and I can dance salsa. I think that's a fun fact.
Mild, medium, or hot salsa sauce?
No hot sauce.
It's mild.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's your favorite place to eat here in Buffalo?
Well, it's a tricky one because I like so much Chipotle. I like Chipotle a lot. So I'm going to stay with Chipotle.
Good choice. Chicken wings or no chicken wings?
Chicken wings.
Who has the best chicken wings in Buffalo?
I haven't tried a lot here, honestly. I go for what I like. What I like is Chipotle.
And also, when you were growing up, you mentioned some players, but did you have a favorite Major League Baseball team growing up?
Nope. No.
And out of all the minor league parks you've been to, besides Salem Field, what are some of your favorite parks to hit in?
I like the Vancouver one. That is the high A affiliate from the Blue Jays. I like that one. It's a really good crowd, and it's a really wild city, so I like it.
How do you like Salem Field as a ball player?
I like it a lot. Fans here, they're really good. The field is really nice. The city, I like it. So yeah, I really like it.
And Stuart, are you on social media where Bisons and Blue Jay fans can follow you?
Yes, Instagram, but like my name, Stuart Berroa, and I think that's all.
And Stuart, I was going to say, good luck tonight against the Syracuse Mets in the second half of the season. And I want to say thank you for doing this tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, guys, that was Buffalo Bison and now Toronto Blue Jays outfielder Stuart Baroa, who was called up by the Blue Jays a couple days ago. And I want to say thank you for him doing that interview as well. As we wrap up this show tonight on this Monday, July 15th, 2024, the next Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, sponsored by BarryCollin.com, Tuesday, July 16th, tomorrow, at 2 p.m. Eastern, with my special guest, Robin Monday. She's the editor-in-chief for BuffaloFanbase.com, a widely read Buffalo Bills blog, and the co-host of her own podcast show, Tea Time. So we're going to talk to Robin about her podcast show called Tea Time with Robin, and we're going to talk to her about the 2024 Buffalo Bills. Are they still a contender in the AFC East, a contender in the AFC, and thoughts on Stephon Diggs, 4 years in Buffalo and now been traded to Houston in the offseason. So I hope you guys can tune in to Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show tomorrow, Tomorrow is Tuesday, July 16th, 2 p.m. Eastern, with Robin Monday. And as always, guys, before we wrap this up, as always, if you're looking for, I'm going to reword this, guys. I talk too fast. If you're looking for a forever furry friend, check out the Cambridge District Humane Society at 1650 Dunbar Road in Cambridge, Ontario, 519-623-7722, or visit their website at cambridgehumanesociety.org. Right now, the Cambridge District Humane Society is full of animals, gerbils, rabbits, cats, dogs, and they're completely full up right now. And if you're looking for a forever friend and can give one of these pets a loving home, please consider the Cambridge District Humane Society. Again, 1650 Dunbar Road in Cambridge, or you can call them at 519-623-7722. And all the animal profiles are on cambridgehumanesociety.org. And if you're looking to volunteer there, like I am, you can fill out a volunteer application through their website as well. And also just to let you guys know, they're doing a 50-50 monthly raffle draw at the Cambridge District Humane Society. You can get your tickets at the office with the address I mentioned, or you can get your ticket through cambridgehumanesociety.org. So again, you can't buy happiness, but you can adopt it. As always, guys, Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, hosted by Chris Pame, is on weeknights from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key, the home of Southern talk and sports, the heartbeat of Atlanta. Our radio station's website is wqeefm.radio12345.com. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show is live streamed on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter /X, Twitch, LinkedIn, and now available on Instagram. And remember, if you're looking for a personalized video, I am on cameo.com and type in Chris Pame. All proceeds from my Cameo videos will go to my radio and media work as well. My website is beacons.ai/Chris D. Pame. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show again is sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out BarryCullen.com for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, or give them a call at 519-824-0210, or email them at info@BarryCullen.com. And speaking of Barry Cullen Chevrolet, they have a summer upgrade event there. The first ever all-electric Blazer EV, 4.99% financing for up to 60 months, and you can get up to $5,000 in government rebates. More details at barrycullen.com, or pop by the dealership again at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show merchandise coming soon this summer. I'm hoping in August to have a new logo and a new t-shirt come out in August as well. Also, guys, you can follow me on TikTok at Live with CDP. I post a lot of content there, player interviews, coaches interviews, and some reels and clips of my shows as well on TikTok at Live with CDP. And make sure you hit that subscribe notification. And I want to say thank you to my 2,296 followers there. StreamYard is the official live stream provider of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. If you're into webinars or podcasting, check out StreamYard.com. And if you're a business that does a lot of webinars or podcasting or live streaming, StreamYard.com and contact the sales department for pricing as well. And I've been with StreamYard for just under 4 years now, and I'm highly happy with it. Good customer service, and they do always have IT guys available if you need them. But StreamYard, to me, is one of the best live streaming providers. One of the best live streaming services out there. Sometimes I talk faster than I can think. Finally, guys, Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Show. The audio version is available on iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify for podcasters, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Casts, Spotify, Castbox, LinkedIn, Pandora, TuneIn, and now available on YouTube Music. So make sure when you're on the YouTube Music app to look at YouTube Music app, type in Live with CDP Sports Talk, as I am now on YouTube Music. My show is no longer on Google Podcasts, so check out Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Show on YouTube Music app. Finally, you guys can email or text me at Live with CDP Sports Talk and Entertainment Show at cpame19@gmail.com, or text the show at 519-820-7188. Any comments, questions, suggestions, feedback, positive, negative, would be greatly appreciated as well. Before we wrap up the show, guys, we got some CFL news today. The Canadian Football League's Edmonton Elks fired their head coach and general manager Chris Jones today and replaced him with assistant GM Geroy Simon will be the interim GM, and Jarius Jackson will be their interim head coach. The Elks under Chris Jones the last couple of years were 8-33 under Chris Jones, including 0-5 to start this year. The Elks have lost all 5 games this year by a combined total of 16 points. And their last 3 losses were by 3 points field goals at the end of the games with no time. So the Edmonton Elks are 0-5, but I do feel, and a lot of people around the Canadian Football League feel, this team should be 3-2 or 4-1. And unfortunately, Chris Jones, who's a great defensive coordinator in the Canadian Football League, his second stint with the Elks, formerly known as the Eskimos, wasn't as successful. So again, Jarius Jackson will be the interim head coach for the Elks, I'm assuming for the rest of this year, and Geroy Simon will take over the GM role as an interim as well. So Chris Jones out as head coach of the Edmonton Elks. And speaking of the Canadian Football League, this Wednesday night, July 17th, 8:30 p.m. Nick Small and myself, the Argo Bounce Live Audio Show, Episode 6, a weekly talk show devoted to the Canadian Football League's Toronto Argonauts. We will be talking about the Argo 37-18 win in Montreal and previewing their game against the Hamilton Tiger Cats this Saturday night, July 20th at Tim Hortons Field. And we're going to have a special guest, Rick, a Hamilton Tiger Cats season ticket holder and a podcast host of his own show, to come on and talk to Nick and I about the Cats 0-5 start and to preview the game against the Toronto Argonauts this Saturday night. So again, guys, that'll be Wednesday at 8:30 with Nick Small and myself, the Argo Bounce Live Audio Show. And again, Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, Tuesday, July 16th, tomorrow, 2 p.m. with Robin Monday, and we're going to be talking some Buffalo Bills football. Again, thank you to Pat Bernard from the Edge of Philly Sports for coming on here tonight to talk some Phillies and Eagles with us. And I want to say thank you to everyone watching this live streamed and on my audio platforms, and to WQEE 99.1 FM and to Barry Cullen Chevrolet. I hope everybody has a great night. Enjoy the Major League Baseball home run hitting contest tonight, as well as the All-Star game will be tomorrow night at 8 o'clock from Globe Life Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Have a good night, everybody. And again, thank you for watching and listening to Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show.